Good evening, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm really glad you're here. And as you come into the room, go ahead and say hello in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. And most importantly, start posting your questions. Tonight is one of those topics where your experiences matter just as much as anything that I can say, because this discussion is driven by you, your struggles, your successes, and what you want to understand about sleep. We're talking about sleep tonight, as you can tell from my background. I try to pick a fun green screen background that's different for my topics. Sleep is not a luxury. It's not as something that you fit in if you can find the time. It's one of the most powerful biological tools your body has for healing, repairing, regulating hormones, balancing metabolism, sharpening the brain, and frankly, keeping you alive and well. Sleep is when your body does its deepest work. It's when your brain clears waste products. It's when growth hormone is released. It's when tissues repair, inflammation comes down, and your nervous system resets. If nutrition is the fuel and movement is the stimulus, sleep is the master recovery switch that makes everything actually work. You cannot out-eat bad sleep. You cannot out-exercise bad sleep, and you certainly cannot out-supplement bad sleep. We'll talk about that. If sleep is broken, everything downstream begins to wobble. Blood sugar, cravings, mood, memory, immune strength, even how hungry you feel the next day. So tonight, we're going to unpack why sleep matters, what disrupts it in modern life, because it's different today than it used to be centuries ago. And most importantly, what you can actually do about it. I have 20 suggestions for you. And I've made almost all of these suggestions in my own life. So I'm excited to share them with you. And I'm really excited to hear what you do. So start filling that comment section in. Tell me, are you sleeping well? Do you wake up at 3 a.m.? Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep? What have you tried? Let's make this a real conversation. Before I get started with my 20 practical measures to improve sleep and how to do them, I'm going to go over to the comments and see what y'all are starting to say. Here we've got John. Together Strong was my first one. He's the teacher's pet. He's the first one on. I don't see any more. Okay. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to get started. Again, go ahead and type in the comment your name if you feel like it. Tell me where you're from. Is it snowing? I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt now with my sleeves partially up because it's cold in the house. We have the windows closed. It's like 50 degrees out here in Boca. So it must be freezing further up north. And I've seen on the news all the snow, the bomb cyclone, the hurricane type snowstorm that the Northeast is getting, where most of my relatives are. So if you're coming from there, tell me what the weather's doing. Okay, I don't know if I'm saying this name right. I always say it wrong. Kashish Rawat. Hey there, John. How are you? I'm doing great, Kashish. Thank you. Audrey is in the house, one of my frequent commenters. Thank you, Audrey. She says, I fall asleep quickly, but only get 5 hours of sleep. That is common. It is. And I don't know, 5 hours may be all you need. I mean, the older we get, the fewer hours of sleep our body requires, but we still need, in my opinion, a good 6 hours. So, do you take naps in the middle of the day? Some people do that and they don't sleep all night. Let's see. Oh, he's from India. Cool. I remember that. John is saying hi to everybody. Audrey has corrected her environment. That's what I did. Man, I made a lot of changes. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. All right, Kosh, thanks. He says I can just call him Kosh. I appreciate you being on, whatever time it is over there. So let me get started with my 20 practical ways to improve sleep. When I heard these 20 measures a little 5-6 years ago, I made some changes in my life and my sleep did improve. And let's talk about them. Number one, anchor your wake up time. Wake up at the same time every day, even on the weekends. This trains your circadian rhythm more than fixed bedtime does. So if you go to bed at the same time every night, that's not as important as if you wake up at the same time every morning. Now, I'm going to do a little I personally with each one of these. I personally, my body wakes me up every single day around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning before the sun is up. And it's a little bit, I sleep a little longer in the winter, and I get up a little earlier in the summer, but that's my biological clock, and I'm up. And then I get older, I get tired as it gets later in the day around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I'm dozing. I'm conking out. Number two is get morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up, if possible. So you step outside for 5 to 15 minutes with no sunglasses on. This signals your brain to start the biological clock that will trigger sleep later in the day. We have this thing in our eye that's connected to our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and it signals the brain. It sends all these signals and sets up your day. Awake time, sleep time. It starts telling you when melatonin is going to be made. So it's important to get that. Now, we all can't get that, can we? In parts of the world, either the sun isn't out, it's a cloudy day. You wake up way before the sun comes up. So you know what I bought? I bought a light, almost like a ring light. It's much, much brighter in lumens. I researched it, and I put it on if I get up super early before I can get out into the sunlight. I put it on in the living room where I'm sitting watching the morning news, and I just turn it on bright, and it shoots out blue light and other spectrums of light, which you would normally get from the sun, probably not as effectively as the sun, but I'm replacing what the sun would do, and that is sending my signals to the brain that it's time to wake up and the day is time to start. Okay, the third thing to do is to dim your lights after sunset. Whenever the sun sets in the region where you live, if you're inside the house, start dimming the lights. I have different light bulbs, and I have them on remote control. I'm a gadget geek, and I can make them red so that there's no blue light spectrum shining through. Low indoor lighting at night is so important. It triggers, again, the brain. It signals that it's time to wind down. It's time for that melatonin to start kicking in and make you tired. Bright light tells your brain it's still daytime. So even if it's dark in the house and you've got the TV on and you're watching Netflix, that's flashing blue lights into your face and sending signals that it's time to stay awake. So I bought some blue blocker glasses. They sell them, and it blocks all the blue light out. It's not as enjoyable to watch TV with them on or to look at my screen with the glasses on, because it's almost monochrome, but I'm helping myself get better sleep. So those are 3 out of the 20 that I wanted to share. Let me go back to the comments and see what y'all have to say. Yay, you're typing. All right. Audrey doesn't take any naps. Kosh says, this is my second session last week. Discussed many questions. It helped me out a lot. I'm glad, Kosh. I hope I don't let you down. Sleep's important. I know that everybody can benefit from the information about sleep. Uncle Charlie, I remember you from last week. I had a pound of grass-fed beef, 4 whole eggs, 8 egg yolks, OMAD. Sounds good. Sounds like a lot of food. That's good. Love it. Love my egg yolks. Go for it. Absolutely. All right. Jersey Shore carnivore. Kind of rhymes. I grew up on the Jersey Shore in the summertime, the South Jersey Shore. I think I remember talking to you last week about that. All right. Uncle Charlie says, cold plunge today, 23-degree water. My gosh. 3 minutes. It felt great when I got out, but freezing while I was in there, well worth it. So healthy. It turns that brown fat on, doesn't it? And it turns white fat into brown fat. And there's a whole theory behind cold water plunging. Maybe I'll do a session on that on a Monday night, because cold plunges are very healthy. It takes a lot of bravery to do it, because it's not very comfortable, but that freezing, shaking triggers amazing things in the body that are very healthy. It's good for you. All right. Kosh also says, John, check it with temperature 4,000 which exactly mimics the sun. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're talking about my light too here. You have one when you're using, you wake up before the sun. Okay, yeah. When I bought it, Kosh, it said that it had like a certain number of lumens. I think it was about that many. That was the measurement lumens, and I made sure it was made to mimic as close to the sun. So I'm waking up. All right, it's 8 p.m. where you are. All right, 6 p.m. for me. Audrey says, I go outside when the sun comes up. I ground for as long as I can take it. Last meal at 2 to 3 p.m., turn down blue light on cell, changing overhead lights to incandescent lights. Yeah, we need to go back from LED lights to the standard incandescent lights, because the LED lights, you don't see it, but it's flashing at a very rapid rate. And your brain sees it, but you don't think you see it. And that's keeping you awake. And it's not healthy. We need to have the old incandescent lights that, yeah, they put off a little heat and they eat up a little more electricity, but they're more of what our ancestors, our ancestors had fire and candles, and the incandescent lights mimic that more than these new fangled fancy lights. Like the light I bought that I just told you about, I believe is an LED light, and that's how they can get all the spectrums in there. But very good point there, Audrey. All right, let me go back to my tips and share a few more tips. The fourth tip is eliminate screens 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime. Okay, your phone, your tablet, your TV, they all suppress melatonin. And if you must use them, you lower the brightness drastically. A lot of them have a setting that can be in night mode so that they, the color hue is more towards night. I wore blue block. I should have brought them with me. I don't have them with me. They're in the other part of the house. I just put the glasses on around 7, 8 o'clock at night. Right after I leave you tonight, I'm going to probably put my glasses on until it's time to go to bed, which for me is around 10:15 p.m. You want to do that because melatonin is made in the body. We make it. And we make less of it if we're looking at bright light later in the day. Number 5 is keep your bedroom cold. Aim for about 65 to 68 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but Fahrenheit. I do know what it is in Celsius. It's about 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Your body needs to drop temperature to enter deep sleep. So I have a ceiling fan that's on. I just have a light sheet on. Actually, because I live here in South Florida and the central air conditioning's on most of the year, I have another bedroom, in just my bedroom. Hold on, I'm getting an error message here. I hope I'm still live. I think I'm still live. Yeah, okay. If I'm not, write me a comment and tell me you can't hear me or see me, because I got some kind of weird error message. So yeah, I have a window air conditioner in my bedroom with the door closed, so I make it even colder. So I'm not like making the whole house cold and raising my electric bill. I just have my window air conditioner in the bedroom only, so it's super, super cold. And in the middle of the night, I get cold, I put the blanket on, and it feels wonderful. Okay. Let's see where we are. Somebody write me a comment and tell me if I'm still coming through. Tell me if I'm still live and you still see me and hear me because of that error message. All right. Uncle Charlie says, I did some research saying that these grounding mats that you put on your bed are not that good for you. I'm going to do a show about grounding in the future. I hear mixed reviews. I have friends that swear by their grounding sheet they use. They didn't say a grounding mattress, a grounding sheet. I don't want to use one because I live in the lightning strike capital of the world, one of them in Florida, and we get enormous amounts of lightning strikes. And I know my house is grounded, but when you plug that grounding sheet into that third prong in the wall where your house is grounded, I'm connecting myself to the ground. And if we get a lightning strike, it's going to go into the sheet and I'm going to get electrocuted. And I have heard that is true. So where I live, I'm not going to do the grounding sheet or grounding mattress, but I do hear a lot of great things about them, Charlie. All right. So make your bedroom cold. My 6th tip for you is eat your last meal earlier. If you're like a late meal eater, think about changing that. Finish eating 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed so the digestion doesn't compete with sleep. Your body is doing a lot of work to digest that food, and the majority of it is within 3 to 4 hours of eating that food. You'll sleep better. It's not an empty stomach, but you're not sleeping on a full stomach. I absolutely personally can't sleep with food in my stomach. It comes up when I lie horizontally. So for me, that's a no-brainer. Thank you, Audrey. I appreciate it. I'm live. Oh, let's go back to grounding. Audrey says she goes out and stands in her bare feet. And she doesn't care how cold it is. She just stands out there until she can handle it. And a lot of people have never heard of this. Grounding we are an electrical system. Our spinal cord, all of our nerve endings, we are electrically charged. And just like when electrical products and a house, when it's grounded to the ground, everything is more stable. And our body is too. Our blood pressure drops a little bit when we ground, when we walk in our bare feet on the earth, on the sand, on the dirt, on the cement that's touching the dirt, on water that's on the ground. Anything that conducts the grounding of the earth to your body is grounding. And there's a whole theory, an up and coming theory about grounding. And people say they feel calmer when they ground. They feel better. I know when I go out, I'm in Boca, so I'm always walking around in my bare feet, and I go out and get the mail, and I walk around barefoot outside all the time. I like it. I grew up. I have grounding, I guess. I have calluses all over my feet. I could step on sharp objects. All right, let's see where we are. All right, number 7 is avoid caffeine after late morning. If you're a coffee drinker, or another way of getting caffeine, caffeine can linger in your body 6 to 8 hours. So cut it off by 10 or 11 o'clock a.m. And if you want to have coffee, have decaf. So instead of the 120, 150 milligrams of caffeine per cup, if you're having a decaf cup of coffee at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you're getting 5 to 10 milligrams of caffeine. There's still caffeine in decaf. So go decaf after 10 if you have to have more coffee. It really does affect sleep. I know people that say, oh, I drink coffee right up before I go to bed and it's caffeine and I sleep well. Well, more power to you. Most people realize that when they take the caffeine out, they sleep better. So I would take the caffeine out. Not all. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to drink coffee, but timing. I did a whole video on the caffeine and timing of caffeine, because if you time it correctly, it's not going to rob you of your iron and your magnesium. It's not going to, cause your sleep to be disrupted if you time it correctly. So that's important. Number 8 is create a wind down ritual. Same routine every night, reading, stretching, quiet music, whatever you want to do, but make it a routine and do the same thing every night right before you go to bed. This conditions your brain to recognize sleep is coming. If you do the same thing, your brain starts associating that with getting tired and sleep. It really works. It does. All right, more comments here. Thank you, guys. Uncle Charlie says, I caught your show Sunday morning or afternoon, but I prefer my steak on my electric griddle and not on my truck. Yeah, I love Rick from Miami. I hope he's watching tonight. He is the most unique, amazing individual I have ever met, with a heart of gold, and he's so smart. And yes, he cooks his food, not all the time, but he has a van and a truck, the old kind. Everything was metal, and he cooks his food on it like the truckers did. Yeah, I prefer my food on my grills as well. I'm with you, Uncle Charlie. All right, Jersey Shore Carnivore. I have a lake near me with a little beach that's very crowded in the summer, but I go there in the morning sometimes when the weather's nice and take off my shoes and just dig my feet into the sand. Isn't that a great feeling? I grew up, in South Jersey, so I love doing that. Loved walking on the beach in the morning too. Such a great feeling. All right. More tips. Where am I? Number 9, keep the room completely dark. Your bedroom. Use blackout curtains. I bought those. I changed my window treatments. Even small light exposure can reduce melatonin production. I took a piece of black electrical tape and I put it on the little blue light that lights up my TV that I'm not using when I'm sleeping. I put a little piece of black electrical tape on other things that are lighting up. Make your bedroom pitch black as this shirt. And that is as well as a cold room. It's important. Number 10 is remove your digital clocks from view. If you're looking at that digital clock, you're waking up in the middle of the night, looking over at it every 10 minutes, every half hour. The clock watching increases your stress hormones if you wake up at night. Now, I know some people that have the clock that projects on the ceiling, right? I had one of those. I actually have one of those, and they're really cool. You're just lying in bed and you just open your eyes gently. You can see what time it is. That too can just increase your stress hormones. You know it's dark. You know it's late. You don't need to know what time it is every 5 minutes. Number 11 is move your body daily. So during the day, exercise improves sleep pressure, but avoid intense workouts about 2 hours before you go to bed. So the best time is in the morning or the mid-morning. I go every morning. I get up around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm at the gym by 7 o'clock. Almost every morning. I take a couple days off. That's important. Number 12 is don't lie awake for long periods. If you can't sleep after, say, 20 or 30 minutes, don't sit there and grinning. I'm going to make myself go to sleep. I'm going to count sheep, which never works. I'm going to just try to, it doesn't work. Just get up, go into a dim room, dimly lit room, and do something else. Start washing the dishes you left up and start cleaning the house. Do something. I would read a book or something with dim light and then go back to sleep. And guarantee you in about 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be tired again and then you'll go right to sleep. But don't try to force yourself to sleep if you just can't. I've been there. I remember that. Number 13, alcohol. All right. If you like alcohol, limit your alcohol because alcohol may make you drowsy, but it fragments your sleep. It fragments deep sleep and causes early waking. I personally believe that alcohol is a toxin. Your liver has to process it like fructose. It causes a fatty liver. It's not healthy. There's not one positive thing about alcohol because alcohol is a toxin. But a lot of us like it. A lot of us want to moderate a little bit of it here and there. And if you do, just don't use it to make yourself drowsy because it's actually going to do the opposite. It's going to fragment your sleep. To go back to my comments here. All right, Jersey Shore Carnivore says this tries to drink coffee early, always before 2 o'clock if I have a second cup. And if you want to have more, do get some decaf. It tastes exactly the same. It really does. It's the ritual. It's the warm mug. It's the taste of the coffee. But it still has some caffeine in it too, but it's a teeny little bit of caffeine. If you like your coffee ritual, go decaffeinated later in the day. All right, let's see. No more comments, huh? Well, if you have any more, type them. Remember, your comments and your questions drive the show because once I run out of things to say, I'm going to start talking about myself and some fun, crazy things and get off topic. All right, let's see. Where am I? Number 14, support your electrolyte balance. Low sodium or dehydration can trigger nighttime wakenings. Hydrate early in the day, not right before bed, because then what happens? You get up and you have to go pee, right? So I have my water bottle. I often show it. My water, my reverse osmosis water with my electrolytes in it. And I sip it throughout the day. And I try to be conscious not to have much 2 hours before I go to bed. So I don't have to get up and pee. And just so you know, I do get up about 1 time a night to urinate. Not too bad. I know some people that tell me they get up 3 and 4 times. So lay off the water. But when you drink water, make sure you have electrolytes in them, especially if you're a low carb eater like we carnivores are. Number 15, keep a constant sleep window. I kind of mentioned this earlier. Train your body to expect sleep during the same 7 to 8 hour block each night, or 6 hour block. So if you're sleeping, like I go to bed at around 10:15 every night, I wake up around 5 o'clock, 5:30, 5:45 every morning. Try to keep it so the body's expecting it and the body will respond appropriately. Now, if you can't, if you have a trip that you're taking, you're going to different time zones, that's going to throw it off. And that's tricky to get that back into sync. And it does affect how you feel. You know what jet lag feels like? It's an awful feeling. I feel like you're coming down with a cold. All right, number 16 is reduce the late night mental stimulation. I've started to do this. No intense work, arguments, stressful news before you go to bed, even the movies you watch. Don't watch a scary movie before you go to bed. And I broke my rule last night. I got to tell you the story. Last night, Doug and I are watching this show, and I forget if it was Netflix or HBO, but we watched something at night, really late in the living room. I have my blue blocker glasses on, and it was a show called Fall. I think it's called Fall. And it's these two girls that are rock climbers, and they decide to climb this old abandoned radio tower all the way to the top. And then part of the ladder starts to fall off and they get stuck at the top. And the whole show, you're like this. Oh my God. Oh my God. They almost fell. And oh my God. And then some things fall and some things break. And one person almost dies. And we're not finished the movie. We started it last night. And I'm thinking, why am I watching this movie right before I go to bed? I mean, how stupid am I? I'm going to have these terrible dreams about falling. Now, I don't remember my dreams last night, but I may have had more stressful moments because I watched that right before I went to bed. So the recommendation is nothing overstimulating and nothing negative. Watch a comedy, read something fun, have a nice, happy discussion with your partner, and don't do something that's going to make your nervous system go into fight or flight mode. All right, number 17, try gentle pre-bed stretching or breathing. Slow nasal breathing or light mobility lowers your sympathetic nervous system. So you're not in fight or flight mode as much anymore. You put yourself in rest digest mode. And we talked about mouth breathing. Remember? Did I talk about that on here? Putting a piece of tape on your mouth and breathing through your nose. Maybe that was my video that I made. But it's important to breathe through our nose for nitric oxide delivery to the body and the blood. So many amazing reasons for breathing through our nose, if you can, if you're not stuffed up or you don't have a deviated septum or whatever. But that's important. Stretching. Some people take a hot shower right before they go to bed. It loosens all the muscles up. And then when you're ready to go to bed, your body's cooling down in that cold bedroom. And people say they sleep better after they either get in the hot tub or they have a hot shower. Number 18 is use your bed only for sleep. And I break this rule all the time. No scrolling, working, or watching TV in bed. The brain must associate the bed with sleep only. And we often go into that room and do other things because we're so relaxed in there, right? I break that rule all the time. That's something I haven't changed yet. And so I should practice what I preach, to use the bed only for sleep. And then the brain associates it with that. Number 19 is get enough daytime light exposure. So not just that morning light, that indoor living confuses our circadian rhythm. Spend real time outdoors daily. If it's freezing cold, don't spend a lot of time out there, but get out there. Put the coat on, the hat, the gloves, and get out into fresh air and real sunlight. And that real daytime light exposure, those different light spectrums go into your suprachiasmatic nucleus that I talked about in your eyes and registers in your brain into the sections of the brain back there. This is how our ancestors lived. You know, we were out all day, then we sat by a fire at night, and then we went to sleep. All right. All right. My last one, maybe there's more. This is what I want you to do now is I want you to type in some in the comments instead of just listening to my 20 tips. What are some tips you haven't heard me say that you do so we can talk about them? My 20th one is be patient, vitamin P, and let the rhythm rebuild. If you're not getting good sleep, it's not going to fix overnight. You have to do all these things and give it time, weeks, months sometimes. Sleep repair can take up to a month of consistency. The body relearns patterns through repetition, not force. So I'm going to make my bedroom cold. I'm going to make my bedroom dark. I'm going to maybe take a hot shower. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to breathe. You do all these things. And after 3 or 4 weeks, the body associates all those things with getting tired and falling asleep and staying asleep. So patterns also matter. All right, back to the comments here. Oh, Audrey, man, love it. Thank you for typing all this stuff. All right, Jersey Shore says, did I read this already? Decaf does not taste the same. I do have some water processed decaf in the house for yeah, Swiss water method is the only decaf you want to have. You don't want to have decaf. Regular decaffeinated coffee is decaffeinated through harsh chemicals that leave a aftertaste residue, and that's what you're saying you taste, Audrey. Not Audrey, sorry, Jersey Shore Carnivore. So get the Swiss water method, and it should have no aftertaste, and it's healthier for you because you're not getting any residual chemicals. And again, it costs more. I know. Audrey says electrolyte balance is an issue for her. Have to take magnesium and potassium, so I also take salt in my water. I'm getting my reverse osmosis and will add Redmond hydrating electrolytes as you suggested. Yeah, all these little tweaks that we make little by little to our lives improve our lives on incremental levels. Overall, in the big picture, we've done some massive changes. I personally, if I look back on my life 8 years ago, I did none of this stuff. None of it. The water, the grounding, the sunlight, the food. I was a completely different human being back then. And I was living in a very different way. I was using plastic. I was cooking on non-stick. I was microwaving in plastic. I was doing all the wrong things. Aluminum foil, all the things you're not supposed to do. So I made all these little tiny changes over the last 8 years. And those are some of the things I'm talking about. When you make them, they're not that hard. You don't have to do them all at once, but together, the sum of them all, it's a huge difference in our overall well-being, how we feel, our health, everything. All right. Kimmy says, no TV in my bedroom. Good for you. I have a TV in my bedroom, but I don't. Here's the guilt. I go in there sometimes in the afternoon and lie in the bed and flop the TV on. So I'm breaking my rule. I'm lying in the bed when I shouldn't be, and I'm watching some TV. But hey, I'm not going to lie to you. All right, John, Together Strong. Helix, you're in my new music video. Oh, you got to go to this guy's, go to John Together Strong, everybody. He writes lyrics. He writes amazing music. And he let me hear a song. It had my name in it and Rick's name in it and George Goodenough's name, everybody's name that he watches on here. He wrote a song with us in it, and it's so cool. It's about carnivore. So go check out his channel, John Together Strong. John, if there's anything else you want me to share so we can let people know about it, tell me in the comments and I'll tell people because it's important. I want to support everybody who's supporting carnivore. All right. Cheryl says, best decaf I've had is brand Fabula. Huh. Never heard of that. That's interesting. Fabula. All right. If it's Swiss water method, that's good. John doesn't own a TV. I haven't had one in 20 years. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I don't know if I could do that. I know some people that got rid of their TV, but I like it for entertainment when I want to watch a movie. I don't go to the movies. I'm guilty. I have the TV. I have it on. Sometimes I have it on when I'm doing things around the house for background noise. I want to hear stuff. That's what I do it for. But Certainly don't watch the news all day. It's all negative all the time. Talk about raising your cortisol levels. Talk about stress levels and interrupting your sleep. If you watch the news, I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, or MSN Now, or whatever it's called. If you watch the news, it's all negative. You don't hear anything happy, fun, or positive. I read 1440, which is something I get on the internet, and it lists the top things that are happening in the country and the world. So I'm getting a variety of news stories, and it's fair, it's balanced, non-biased. There's no spin, and I'm reading it. All right. When you just put the news on, you're at their discretion, and they spin everything and they harp on the same thing over and over again. It's so negative. I do want to keep up on world events, but I don't want that negativity in my brain. All right. Anybody else have anything they want us? Oh, there's more. Oh, gosh. I didn't see that. Let me scroll down. All right. Jersey Shore Carnivore. I intentionally made my bedroom a place of rest. Even if I take the rare nap, I don't do it in the bedroom. There you go. I need to start doing that. Uncle Charlie says, I walk every day outside when it's cold with my hot gloves, robe for 1.6 miles. Good for you. Do it. I have no reason not to do it where I live. All right. Audrey says, breathing in through your nose, then out through your nose slowly. Do it 30 times. You will. It works. And what I also learned is you breathe through your nose. I count to like 7 slowly. And then I just hold it for a few seconds and I exhale 8 or 9. You want your exhales to be a little bit longer than your inhales, and that puts you in rest and digest mode and helps you fall asleep. It's intentional. You have to make yourself do it, though. And once you do, powerful. It really is. I did a whole video about nitric oxide too. You got to breathe through your nose. Your nose also humidifies it as it's going down into your lungs. When you breathe out of your mouth, it's dry. It's important to breathe through your nose. No TV in my house, Cheryl says. Let's see. Here's one. Helix Refined Fire. It doesn't have any of my personal story in the song, does it, John? Oh, all right. I'll let you guys talk to each other. I just posted a view. All right, Kimmy. YouTube on my TVs. Yeah. Some people use TV and they watch their Anthony Chafee and their Dr. Ken Berry on their TV, right? And I do that too. No TV since 2009, Audrey. Oh my gosh. Where do you see the TVs they have out there nowadays? You just talk to it and it pulls. You could say, hey, TV, show me this. And the damn thing shows you anything you want. I mean, the technology is just amazing. All right, let's see. Kimmy says NBC of Wicked, awesome. Boston is very for with the people. Okay. Yeah, everybody's area is different. We have our local channels here in South Florida. I can't stand any commercials personally. Anytime the commercial comes on, I've got my remote in my hand and I've got my finger on the mute button. I do not want to hear another drug commercial with all the side effects. The United States and New Zealand are the only 2 countries in the whole world that has these horrible commercials, and they're on constantly. Drug after drug after drug and their side effects. Talk about raising your cortisol. I don't want to hear that negativity. All the side effects sound like people are dying. It's terrible. What happened to the commercials where they're selling oven cleaner and Windex and things like that, products you might want to buy? I don't see those that much anymore. I just see all these horrible commercials. So getting the TV off is a good idea. I just have my mute button in hand. I do. And then if you have Roku or something, you can just, or pay-per-view, you don't have any commercials, which is great. All right, guys, I'm running out of comments here. We're at 6:39 my time, so I'm just going to chat. Can you please tell me in the comments other things that you do to get good sleep? I just came up with a few others in my head that weren't on my list. If you want to try some supplements, I recommend magnesium glycinate. Glycinate, glycine is an amino acid, the simplest form, and it's a relaxing amino acid. It's very healthy. It's very natural. It's not a drug. It's a amino acid, and you can buy them at the store. When you pair it with magnesium, we all need magnesium. Everybody's deficient in magnesium pretty much because of agriculture today. And the ground is just doesn't have as much as it used to. So the cattle that are eating the grass are getting less magnesium. When we eat the beef cattle, we're getting less than we used to years ago. So glycinate, some people, what do they do at night? They drink some nighttime tea. I don't like tea because it comes from a plant, but some people do those herbs that are supposed to relax you, different root teas. What are some other things that people do when they go to sleep at night? Let me know in the comments. Hey, there's Rick. Hey, Rick, we were talking about you earlier, buddy. Charger Mopar is Rick. I just get in bed, turn off the lights, and fall asleep. And you know why, Rick? Because you work your ass off all day long. You work so hard. If you're not bicycling somewhere, you're working, doing a job for somebody. And that is probably another one I should put on my list. If you just keep yourself busy and you work outside and you just stay focused, then at the end of the day, like Rick, you fall asleep that easy because you're busy. I know that when I am not doing anything, I'm relaxing all day, doing nothing, I don't sleep as well at night. I probably even take a nap during the day. So getting sleep is important that way too. All right, let's see. Anybody else want to share something? Rick, if I give you a link, would you like to pop on and talk a little bit? Let me see if I can get that link here. Maybe you'll come on. Dim incandescent lights Rick uses. Yeah. At night, helps with sleep. Yeah, you want to dim your lights. I mentioned that earlier. All right, Rick. All right, everybody who's listening, I'm going to try to multitask here as I try to find this link to give to Rick. So give me a second while I find the link. And we will have a guest on here, my buddy. We just had him last Sunday. Boy, I'm a horrible. I used to multitask so much better when I was working. I'm a 34-year teacher. I multitask like a pro. I can't even do it anymore. You lose practice. All right, let's see. Invite guests, copy link. All right, so here's the link. I'm going to just put it in there. Everybody's going to see it, but Rick, there's the link, my friend. If you want to click it, I'll let you in, and we'll talk about sleep a little bit more until about 7 o'clock. All right. Audrey says, rather than cold plunge, take a cold shower, do the slow breathing for as long as you can. It takes your mind off the cold. All right, I will try that. John Together Strong says, though, the years I have learned that lack of sleep is a combination or a contributor to hypercortisolism and hepatic insulin. Yeah, it is. It can be if you have too much cortisol. Right, there's Rick. Rick, I see you, but I don't see you. See if we can get you on there. Oh. He's on. There he is. How you? Oh, I got to put my earbuds in there. Hold on, Rick. I don't put them in because nobody's talking to me. There we go. How you doing?
Not bad. Not bad.
Welcome. Thanks for coming on for about 15 or 20 minutes. Tell us more about how you get good sleep. I know you work your butt off all day and then you come home and you fall asleep because you're a hard worker. But what are some other things you do? You mentioned the incandescent light.
Well, one thing I do, I don't eat too late. I generally get all my eating done before 8. So after I finish this, I'll eat. And you can see the light in here is not very bright. All the lights in this house are incandescent. I do have some fluorescent lights in the shop area, the garage area, and in the back room, which is a library, but that's during the day. What I believe in is having really bright light during the day. I go outside a lot. Like you said, if I'm not driving, I'm riding my bike. I don't wear sunglasses. I don't even know. Well, I own them, but I don't wear them.
Yeah.
And I go outside, and when I get up in the morning, I get up before the sun comes up, usually around between 6 and 6:30. I'll wake up, and then typically I turn on the computer. I look at Dr. Kiltz and his live, and then I go outside, and then the sun starts coming up. I'm either getting my van or truck ready to go to a job, or I'm working around the house, and then I'll cook my breakfast. Usually I have breakfast between 7 and 8. And yeah, I mean, that it seems to work. It's very rare that I can't fall asleep. The only time I can't fall asleep is when my air conditioner is broken. I like to keep the temperature below 70 degrees at night. That really seems to help. If it's too hot, I can't sleep.
That's good. We talked about that too. We talked about keeping the bedroom cold, dark, and getting sunlight in the morning for sure. So, fluorescent lights, you said you only have them during the daytime.
Yeah.
And incandescent are the old ones, and they're selling fewer of them in the stores. They're harder to find nowadays because everything's going LED. The incandescents, do they put off something similar to LEDs that we shouldn't be having at night?
Incandescents are basically more of a wider spectrum light. They're more in the they're closer to the infrared range. In fact, that's why they get so hot. LEDs, they may be more in the ultraviolet range, but it really depends on how they're made, because you can get red LEDs,
The red ones, yeah.
blue ones. I avoid the blue ones. I do have a few electronic devices. Like my little computer has a decorative light that's blue, but that that's not a big deal because it's dim. Some of the other devices, they have blue lights, and if you have them at night, cover them up with a piece of tape.
Right.
But in my house, everything's on a mechanical timer. Everything in this room is on a mechanical timer, and it shuts off around 11:30. That turns off the whole network. The only thing that still runs is the modem and the router, which are on a separate connection. And then there is one wired connection that goes to my room in case I need to use the internet. Everything turns back on around 6:30 in the morning. So that whole period of time between 11:30 and 6:30, there's no technology except for the router and the modem. And that's basically it. And then I do have the laptop in my room if I need to use it. But that's it.
All right. That's good. And we all need to get better sleep, that's for sure. And you're doing all the same things that we talked about. Kimmy says LED lights disrupt sleep cycle for all animals too. I think it does. We didn't have LED lights years ago. I mean,
LEDs have been around since the 1960s.
well, I mean, for our ancestors, we didn't grow up. Our ancestors were not raised with LED lights. This is a modern invention. So,
well, one of the things that I've noticed with the LED lights is because they take less energy, people tend to put a lot more of them. And a lot of people that I know, when you go in their house at night, it is way too bright. Plus, a lot of homes today, they have that minimalist stripped down look. My house, you have paneling, you have books, everything is sort of dark. It's sort of like your typical man's house. Nothing is really white. Nothing is minimalist. It's just all old fashioned.
You have my 1970s house that I grew up in. Yeah. Do you have shag carpet?
I have a shag carpet. It's like an orange color.
Yeah, orange.
And then part of it's a terrazzo floor, which is white with little speckles.
Right. I used
It
to have
is
that.
varnished. But I got the green refrigerator. Now,
Oh, wow.
Venetian blinds that are like a wood. They're like a varnish wood. So when I have the lights on, there's very little reflection. And what I've noticed, occasionally I have to go somewhere at night. I've had to work on offices late because I was working sort of when no one else is using it. I go to the house. And the other thing too is sound. A lot of things that people don't think about. Many of these houses today with their minimalist style, there's a lot of echo, and it doesn't take much. Sometimes it's just the air conditioner. And if the room is quiet enough, you hear that.
Right.
It's very annoying sound. And then also, you might have a noise from outside. I've been in buildings where there's a car running in the parking lot, and that low frequency sound comes up into the room, and you can hear it. So a lot of places that I've been in, if I'm working at night, thinking to myself, how can anybody sleep? Plus, just from being there with all those bright lights and reflected lights, it's hard for me when I come home. So if I was working somewhere, maybe like an office or a home, and I work till 10, and I'm trying to get to sleep 10:30, 11, it's almost impossible because I get in my house and I've still still kind of messed up from all that bright light that I've had to look at.
Yeah, yeah. I use a white noise machine because, like you said, I hear this one guy down the street has the car with the muffler that he has. I don't know why he's revving it at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then my refrigerator, all the way in the other room in the kitchen, the freezer drops ice cubes, and I can hear it when it drops the ice cubes. So I use a white noise machine, and it just some people say brown noise. There's all these different names for the different frequencies that mask it, and that's another tip. Some people have. I would prefer dead silence, but sometimes you can't get that.
Well, in the old days, we used to call those fans.
Right.
Because when I had my windows open, and it happens sometimes now if there's no air conditioning, you have the windows open, every dog that barks, every car that drives by, it'll wake you up. But when you're running an old GE fans like I have, these things are from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They go all night. So between the motor and the sound of the air moving, it's very steady.
As long as it's steady now, because if there's a variation, like a compressor of an air conditioning kicking on and off,
right,
that's going to jolt you away. There's some people say they're deep sleepers. I'm not.
And that's
every
another
little
thing
wakes me up.
A window unit makes it very difficult to sleep. Same thing with a portable. I switched to a mini split. The mini split, the compressor unit is all the way on the back of the house.
Right.
The mini split's up on the wall. The only noise you hear is the fan. Now, the one in the living room, it's got a defective motor, so it makes a constant sound. But you can get used to that.
It's constant.
The one in my room is completely silent. The only thing you hear is a slight blowing sound. And because I have so many books in the room, there's so much stuff in there, you can't hear anything.
Absorbs it, yeah.
Yeah. And I have the old metal Venetian blinds. They're like 2 inches wide. When that thing flips up, it just blocks the light completely. Wow. And I have neighbors that have security lights. And every time somebody walks by, they come on. Now, I've planted a lot of trees in the yard to keep them out, but the light still comes on. But the Venetian blinds, they knock it out. So I don't see anything.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I have I bought curtains with blackout. I hung them up. I have also they're wooden, not mini blinds. They're like Venetian, but they're the newer ones. And, but I still put on top of those to get better sleep, total blackout, because my neighbor also keeps his lights on. We have 0 lot lines here, and they keep the lights on all night long. I don't know why. And so, you do what you can do. Yeah, that's important. Now, what about Milton? Does Milton wake you up in the middle of the night, Mr. Nocturnal, or do you keep him out of the bedroom with the door closed?
Milton is allowed to go in the bedroom. In fact, what I've done in the wintertime, like now, when I don't run the air conditioner, I just leave the door open. Milton can go on in and out whenever he wants. In the summertime, I'll run the AC colder in my room. I have a little weight that hangs on the door, and I turn the knob so it doesn't latch. So Milton has figured out how to open the door. So he can reach in with his paw, open the door. He comes in. Then when he wants to go out, he can just push the door open. So, but basically I put a hook, and there's a small weight. It's probably like a big fishing weight. And then that way, when the door opens, he can get out. The door will close, but it never latches. Because again, where the latch is, I have a little screw I put in there that holds it open. So he comes and goes. Milton does not bother me at night. Now, during the day, sometimes he'll attack me. He'll bite my arm and grab me with his paws. But at nighttime, he never does that. And he'll just silently get up in the bed. He'll sleep next to me. It's just if I have to get up to use the bathroom or do something, I always put my hand down to feel for the fur. If the fur is there, then I know he's there and I can work around him.
All right.
But he doesn't really bother me.
Okay. I was wondering because I know cats are nocturnal and they're more awake at night, usually. I had a cat years ago and they drove me crazy. I had to lock them out. And then I would hear things in the bedroom. I would hear things falling and breaking in the other room. Like, especially when they were kittens. Oh my God. Well, I had 2 of them.
He likes to chase cockroaches. And if I ever did get a rodent in the house, I don't think the rodent would even have a chance because he's really fast.
Does he get the palmetto bugs?
Yes.
Does he bring them to you or does he eat them?
Sometimes he brings them to me, and that is the problem. Now, it was nice when I had ducks because I would collect the palmetto roaches and throw them to the ducks. And it was fun watching them chase and eat them. But now he brings them to me. Usually they end up dead. He eventually kills them, but he's actually jumped in my bed and then dropped the roach on me. Next thing you know, I'm trying to get this thing off.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
God. That'll raise your cortisol and keep you awake for the rest of the night.
But I don't have them at this time of the year. They only come in the rainy season.
Right.
My
I was
home,
just going to say it's been very dry, and I don't know about you guys down there, but we're in a drought here. My lawn
yeah.
looks dead. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a lawn except for the little bit out by the street, and I
Right.
do water my plants. So every couple of days, I'm out there with the hose watering the potted plants, and I started watering my fruit trees because they were too dry. So yeah, but I got rid of the lawn. It was just way too much work.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with it anymore. Picking up leaves and then having to mow all the time and trim. Now I just rake all the leaves in a pile, shred them with a lawnmower, and leave them there to
Let them
decompose.
decompose. Yeah. I wish I lived in a neighborhood like that, but we have an association and we have covenants, and we get a letter if we don't keep things the way they want it. It's a pain in the neck, but
I had trouble years ago with the county. The code enforcement was harassing me. But lucky for me, I have a friend. They have at the Fairchild Tropical Gardens, they have a native plant society. And I joined the plant society and I told them what was happening. And she was like, they did what? And then she put me in contact with somebody at the botanist at the county. And we had a big discussion at the county building, and the code enforcement finally left me alone.
good.
Yeah.
Finally.
And what they did, they put me in the Zero Escape program because they're trying to explain, not only do I save water, but I've
Really?
eliminated waste. The amount of garbage I threw out for a while, I didn't even pay a garbage fee.
They just did not know all the details about what you do. They thought
They-
you were making a mess.
Well, what they said, it was overgrown. But I tried to explain to them, this is a native plant community. But now I proudly display a sign. It has a QR code on
Oh
it.
yeah?
Yeah, for the
All right.
Native Plant Society.
Great.
And most of the comments I've had from the neighbors are good.
Okay.
My one neighbor, she says she brings her grandkids over because it's like going to the woods. They can go there and look around. He said, oh, it's just
Cool.
like going to the woods.
Which we have fewer and fewer nowadays. Everything is getting paved over and built up, and same thing up here, Rick. It's disgusting with what's going on around here. It's not what it used to be.
Once
Well,
I
I'm coming. Go
Once
ahead.
I move out of here, you could be sure they'll take all this out. So I'm going to do it for them.
They
Before I
probably will.
sell the place, I'm taking everything out and taking it with me.
Oh, that's a lot of moving.
I got a Bobcat, a trailer, and a truck.
All right. Coming to the top of the hour of when I stopped. I want to thank you for coming on, Rick, because I ran out of things to say. So I appreciate you coming on. You're welcome to pop in next week too. I'm gonna. I forget what my topic is. I have it written down somewhere else. And if you want to chat, then if you're available, I'll give you the link.
All right.
Great. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for stopping by tonight. I hope you got some tips you can walk away with to get yourself some better sleep. I know I used a lot of those tips. I didn't use them before, and I do now. And thanks, Rick, for your tips as well.
Anytime.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.